Um, yeah, if that's what I will go over with people in the flirt coaching is if you know how to really read your partners, whether it's your business partner or your life partners or potential life partners, you know how to read what lights them up, what doesn't, then you can go with that. And you can choose better partners.
Hey everyone, this is Devin Miller here with another episode of the Inventive Journey. I'm your host, Devin Miller, the serial entrepreneur that's grown several startups and 7- and 8-figure businesses, as well as the founder and CEO of Miller IP Law, where we help startups and small businesses with their patents and trademarks. If you never ever need help with yours, just go to strategymeeting.com and grab some time with us to chat. Now, today we have another great guest on the podcast, Sedreana Saldana, I think, if as close as I can get to it. So just a brief introduction. Sedreana is from Austin, Texas. Went to school at University of Texas. Got a bachelor's in social work and did social work for about 5 years before moving to LA to do acting. And met someone there. Had a kid. Took her out of acting and then went back to social work for a bit of time. Didn't like it. Too many restrictions. Not enough money. Moved back to Texas to do something else. And then in 2011 founded being a business coach and gave some coaching on that, and then took some coaching classes, took a break from that for a period of time, came back to it, and that will kind of lead up to where she's at today, where she's the self-proclaimed flirting coach. So with that much as an introduction, welcome on to the podcast.
Woo! Bravo. You took some good notes.
That's right. So I give kind of a quick walkthrough of your journey and kind of, the high level overview, but why don't you take us back in time a bit, growing up in Austin and going to the university in Texas and how your journey started there.
Ooh, back in time. I like that. But I'm more excited about the future. Oh my gosh. So, having a child really, really made me realize how much time is so valuable, free and freedom. So I did have a job for a year and a half throughout my son's childhood, and he's now 11. And because I had to drop him off and leave him for 8-9 hours of the day, I was like, that's not fun. I want to be the one having fun with him. And so that kind of like really motivated me to check out what being in business for yourself was all about. And
before we dive into that, and we'll definitely get to that part of the journey, why don't you take us back a little bit when your journey originally started? Because I think you started out in social work, right?
Oh, well, yeah, I do have a degree in social work from UT. So I've always been curious about how to strengthen communities and help people. And now with the coaching, I totally see how that's such a good fit because it's all about transforming people. And just like you can't tickle yourself, my coach is always telling me you can't tickle yourself. So, but not in that accent. But yes, you can't. It doesn't tickle. You have to have somebody there that's giving you feedback or seeing what lights you up, guiding you, mentoring you, loving on you, appreciating you, all those good things. And then that's when we can start to see more of ourselves through that kind of interaction. So yes, I do have a social work background, and that's why
you did that. I think for about after you got your degree, and you did it for about 5 years, if I remember when we chatted.
Yes, about 5 years, not long.
You did that for 5 years, and then what made you decide to switch gears or to leave social work, so to speak, and go to LA and get into acting? Was it kind of just a dream that you always had, or an opportunity, or just wanted to change, or kind of what made you decide to do that first part of your journey?
Yeah, through the program, back then I wasn't in this free agent entrepreneurship program at Sage University, but now that I've been taking classes for years and will continue to take them because it's studying business and human dynamics and communication and coaching and salesmanship. That's what they specialize in, and there's no way I can ever get enough of practice and learning and unlearning of in those topics. So what they say, which makes total sense, like, here I am, I got a degree in social work, but then I want to do acting. As you can tell, I'm very animated. I love to entertain, love it if I can raise somebody's energy or vibe, make them laugh. So here I have a social work degree. I worked as a case manager for a year and a half. And then on the other hand, I was wanting to go to LA, and off I went. And that's because our brains, they need at least two projects, one for the creative side and the other one for the logical side, right? So the professional job was satisfied that side, but the other part of me, the part that is probably a little bit dominant, of wanting to have fun and just be playful, well, I listened to that part. And so that's why I went to LA, just to explore acting. I loved it ever since I was a little kid. And that's another big clue, guys and gals, is what you loved to do as a little kid is a big piece of your puzzle, or some of the things. And one of the things that I loved was just making my brother and sister be in shows and perform with me for my family. So I loved acting, and it still was there, and it still is there. And now I get to, and what we learn in business is that we have to act, we have to put on different characters, especially if we have, as a free agent entrepreneur, you have multiple projects, not just one, sometimes not just two, but I know my partners have 100 projects going on, and I'm about to add a third big one. And I think I'm capping it at that, because because they're just, all three of them are just, to me, just huge things to do, and huge projects. And so that's kind of why
So and I think I get that in the sense, there, and I do agree. There's kind of that tug and pull with a lot of people. If you have a creative side and you want a creative outlet, you also have kind of more of a logical and kind of, just more operational side. And so to have that balance of and that mixture definitely makes life a lot more enjoyable. And so, you started out in the social work, which was more the operational, and then you moved out to LA to do acting. Now, did you ever get any acting or gigs? Did you ever, or how did that go? And I think at some point you had, you had a kid in the middle of that. So kind of how did that phase of the journey go as you're trying to get into acting?
Oh yeah. So I only really pursued it for 2.5 years out there. And then after that, that's when I got pregnant, and I got a professional social work job as a case manager in Compton and Watts. So that was kind of cool to explore those areas, because, they're kind of famous in a way. And that was an adventure. And so, I only really pursued it for 2.5 years, but in those 2.5 years, I did visit every major set as an extra. I did a lot of extra work just to be able to get on the sets and see how things were done. It was so much fun. And I did a couple of things, like I was a double for that movie Red Eye, where I got to work with Wes Craven. That was fun, so there were some bigger things sprinkled in there. But now with the whole business, and what we're learning is just like, business is going all towards celebration and entertainment and recreation, like how we can have fun with others, because, as you know, AI is going to take over millions and millions of jobs. Even yesterday at the airport, for the first time, I had a robot arm take my coffee order and serve it the way I wanted it, and, put it in a vending machine. And I was like, wow. I was like, there you go. So yes, it's all, so like I said, the business is putting on different caps, putting on different characters. So I have the director of my nonprofit I just started with a partner of Austin Family Housing. I'm the director of that. I have all the vision for it. And I'm going to,
before we dive in, we'll absolutely dive into where you're at today, but just maybe just backfilling that journey just a bit more and staying with the doing the acting. So you did acting for about 2.5 years. You had the kid. Now, what made you decide to move back to Texas? Because I think that you did that.
Oh, yes. I love how you're so curious about the acting. And you keep bringing it back there. Yes. So I had the baby, and my family was here in Texas. I'm in Austin, and I just felt like, I want to move back, and it's more, I guess you could say, family friendly, family oriented here in Austin, and more affordable. That was, of course, 11 years ago. And since then it's gone up, but still right now, Austin has the hottest market in the nation. And so many people from California are moving here. I mean, in groves. But, back 11, 12 years ago, I moved back with a baby, and, yeah, just family was here, and people love Austin. And so I just decided to kind of this be my stable place. Family really helps a lot when it comes to raising a baby.
Definitely understand, and it's a great support system as you're raising a family to have family around you. So now as you're moving back to Texas, how did you decide, what did you want to do next? Did you go back into social working? I think you got into business coaching, but kind of how did you say, okay, tried acting for a bit of time, did a whole bunch of extras, now I'm moved back into Texas, raising a kid, now I'm trying to decide what to do with the next phase of life.
Yeah.
What did you kind of land on?
Well, I landed on my first business coach. So I had a business coach in 2011, my first one ever, business / life / communication, all those 3 major areas of life. So she was able to really help me see myself more and like put together the Sedreana puzzle, because everybody has their own puzzle, and there's so many pieces, and each piece is so intricate. So one of the pieces is acting, one of the pieces is social work, other piece this, that. And you kind of this program is very unique. It's the only one in the whole wide world that really sees who you are, doesn't give advice, opinions about I think you should do this. No, all they do is give feedback. And so now fast forward to all this coaching and classes, I'm just a good flirt. So that's why I decided, and along with, I have a team of flirt coaches. There's a team of 3 of us right now, and we started a YouTube channel to put fun scenarios out there. It's 2 women and 1 guy, and so we're all coaches. And then we started this YouTube channel to just kind of share of how people are, let's say, not lighting each other up when it comes to either dating or being in a relationship. So my mentor gave me that feedback that I'm just super playful and flirty, and this would be a good route to go in as far as in the coaching avenue, because in the realm of coaching, you can have business coach, life coach, communication coach, all these different categories you can have. And I kind of just picked that one because that was the one that fit me the best, is especially now with all the tech and the guys, and gals in tech, where they're just so used to just sitting in front of a computer and doing their work, or in front of their phones texting. It's a really, there's a need out there for social and conversational skills that we're losing and have lost some,
Yeah, and one question on that, because I definitely get, especially as you're getting into a lot more social media, less face-to-face interactions, and that's only been exacerbated by COVID, and you have other, drawbacks. I went into engineering, had a lot of classmates that they were incredibly smart, and yet they lack social skills. So I get from the people needing to have that, almost that coaching or that training or that experience as to how to interact better with people definitely makes sense. But now, how do you go about actually building a business around that? Because there's a difference between recognizing that, that people may need those skills versus going out and actually saying, hey, you lack social skills. let me help you to or learn how to communicate with people and to flirt or to be able to make connections and establish relationships. Seems like it's a bit of a jump because either one, you'll end up insulting people because they think they're a good communicator, or even if they're not, or two, they're not going to say that it's a big enough problem to solve. So how do you kind of overcome that hurdle or kind of establish a business to where people will be hiring you as a coach?
Yeah. Well, good question, because of course I've already heard from guys, oh, I know how to get a woman if I want one, So basically what we're looking for is that 1 in 100, or maybe 2 in 100 of people who are going to be curious and open, just like myself. I was curious and open to have this session with this coach of like, well, what more could there be for me, So that's the main thing, is we're just looking for the curious ones, and it's not going to be the majority, and so we just keep that in mind. Then we also give feedback like, oh, how would you like, it's like playing music, I played the flute, you can play 1 note or 2 notes, but what if you really knew how to play so many more notes and really explore what other kind of music you could make, right? So it's just looking for the people who are curious and open and know that, hey, maybe I could learn something or unlearn and from this person, just like I can learn something from you. You could learn something from me. I mean, everybody has their things that they're good at. So you might as well, if you're curious, check it out, right? We always offer sample sessions so they can get a flavor, a taste of what it's about. But I mean, gosh, it seems like.
And just that, remind me, so when did you kind of establish that as a business, or the flirting coach and helping people establish relationships, communicate? How long ago was that?
Well, I just this year decided that I would like to call myself a flirt coach after going on 6-7 years of these coaching classes. I thought, well, it's about time. It's about time to put all this training into use. But it's just, for me, calling myself a life coach wasn't lighting me up. I don't know why. But flirt coach, now that lights me up. And so that was a huge piece. So finding that piece of just like, oh, well, let's just label you something else that fits more of your personality, so that when I go and I'm interacting with people and I say I'm a flirt coach, it lights me up so much to just try to call myself like a title that I just wasn't lighting up for whatever reason. I don't even want to try to understand why I wasn't lighting up on that, title, but that was one of the main things. So yeah. And then with the flirt coaching team that I work with, what we could also do, and we started the YouTube channel, but we want to also start getting into calling tech companies and offering our social and conversational skills training for, maybe they'd like to hire us as a team to come in, and whether coming in person or on Zoom, where we could offer this fun training to their employees. So there's that avenue that we can go on with the team.
No, and it sounds like, things have, as you kind of found there's a lot of life coaches out there. There's a lot of people that are trying to break into coaching and to find your niche and kind of where you can distinguish yourself and how you can make the biggest impact is kind of where, over a period of time, that you finally be able to kind of hone in on that. So that sounds like it's an exciting place to be. So kind of with that in mind, as we've now kind of walked through a bit of your journey, how you got to where you're at today, what you're doing a bit today. I always have 2 questions at the end of each podcast, so we'll jump to now. So the first question I always ask is, along your journey, what was your worst business decision and what did you learn from it?
Oh yeah, those questions. The worst business decision? For me, there are no worst business decisions, because it's all about trying things, falling down, lifting yourself up. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, okay. Oh yeah,
All
that
right.
person. you know.
What was the decision where you fell down and had to lift yourself back up? In other words, because I would argue slightly in the sense that if you go out and you spend, let's say you had $100 million and you went out and spent $100 million, lost every penny, you may learn a good thing. You probably still wouldn't go make the same decision that you lost $100 million if you could do it over again. So there's still things that, while you have an ability to learn from, are still things that if you could do over again or you could do it differently, you probably would. So that's kind of how I define it, as what is something that you did fall down from, that you did pick yourself up from and learn from?
Gosh, like I said, I really am of the mindset that everything happens the way it's meant to happen. I mean, like, you know, everything, no matter how hard it is to go through. So I can't even answer that. I mean, of course, everybody has their stories and their tough times in life that they've gone through, like heartaches or financial aches, but it's all, I don't know. I don't feel like there's an answer to that question. For
I'll
me.
try one last time. We'll see if we can elicit an answer. What is a time where it's been a difficult business time that you learned something from?
Yeah, I mean, of course, as entrepreneurs, it's not easy. Of course, it's not easy to, um, but it's so much fun. It's so much fun. And there's been, as a single mom, I've been single mom for 11 years. There's been so many times throughout the years of this process that I would go and I would slide my credit card and it would get declined. But oh well, there's not enough money in the account for that today. I mean, so yeah, there's those times, but still, look how much it's lighting me up. And you know why? Because no matter what, it's all about the freedom for me, about that freedom of being able to do what you want to do, how you earn money, how you want to earn money, who you want to work with or play with, as we like to say. So yeah, I mean, of course, there's those times, but that's just part of what entrepreneurship is.
All
And
right,
then
I'll give that a half answer. I still don't know that we ever actually got a full answer there, but we'll give it at least a half attempt. So now
well, at least it's making you smile.
now I'll give the second question I asked, and this one I think you should be able to answer, but we'll give it a try. Which is, if you're talking to someone that's just getting into a startup or a small business, what would be the one piece of advice you'd give them?
Oh gosh, learn how to read your partners, because that's one thing I will focus on in flirt coaching. And I'm I don't know if you can see, I'm a little distracted. I have a cat that's clawing the back of my chair. So if your cat pops up over here, you'll know why. But yeah, if that's what I will go over with people in the flirt coaching, is if you know how to really read your partners, whether it's your business partner or your life partners or potential life partners, you know how to read what lights them up, what doesn't, then you can go with that. And you can choose better partners. So it's all about just cutting people from the team while you're recruiting. Like, you're just looking for your team player, whether it's in business or in life, and not to get too attached to one, even if this person looks like the perfect one. But if you really know how to read that potential partner, and you know how to see if they're going to be good collaborators, then you can either cut them or recruit them.
No, and I think that there is, I think there's a difference. A lot of people think that, I've very seldom you ever meet someone that says, I'm not good at reading people. I think everybody thinks that they're good at reading people. Now, in reality, I think some people may be good at reading people, and a lot of people are terrible at reading people. And there's even been some interesting studies to how often people or misread people. So I think there is that talent, and that skill, and if you can learn to develop it and learn how to both understand where people at, have empathy, read them, make sure that you know that you can communicate well with them, that they're on the same page, that you can address their concerns. All of those can definitely make you, a stronger and better business person. So definitely agree with that piece of advice. Well, as people, if they want to, as we wrap up the podcast, if people want to reach out to you, they want to be a client, they want to be a customer, they want to, or have you as their Flirt Coach, they want to be an employee, they want to be an investor in your business. If you're looking for investors, they want to be your next best friend, any or all of the above. What's the best way to reach out to you, contact you, or find out more?
Oh, yes. Well, thank you. Yeah, I like that. Friends to partners to investors. I mean, yes. I guess my phone number, do you want me to just say it out loud? Okay.
However you want them to connect up with you.
512-917-3957.
All right. Well, I definitely encourage people to reach out, make that connection, and see on any or all the above, or how you guys can engage and explore things. So now with that, thank you again for coming on the podcast. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure. Now, for all of you that are listeners, if you have your own journey to tell and you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, feel free to go to inventiveguest.com. Apply to be on the show. A few more things as listeners. One, make sure to click subscribe in your podcast player so you know when all of our awesome episodes come out. And two, leave us a review so everyone else can find out about all of our awesome episodes. And last but not least, if you ever need help with patents, trademarks, or anything else, feel free to reach out. Just go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat. Well, thank you again for coming on the podcast. It's been a pleasure, and wish the next leg of your journey even better than the last.
Oh, thank you, Devin.